the stage, 7-time champion Jimmie Johnson. And we will dive right in because, as we said, we have 10 minutes with each of our principals today. So if you'll raise your hand, one of our mic runners will get to you. And it looks like kicking off the media tour will be Holly Kane.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Good morning, Jimmie.
Morning.
Want to ask you a question probably a lot of people have for you, but a change in the way the championship is decided. This is something you've become accustomed to. Maybe you could just speak a little bit about that and what that's been. You're the only 7-time champion that's had to do it so many different times.
Sure. I mean,
or ways. I'm
so
sorry.
many different ways. I guess the championship piece, we still get to Homestead, and it's very similar for that event itself. How you get there is a bit different. The big takeaway I have is, when you put all the smart people in the room and let everybody decide what it could look like and what it should look like, from TV, owners, NASCAR, driver representation, I think that's a smart move. And I feel that knowing our environment, knowing how to take the best from each of those folks in the room, all the major stakeholders, and come up with this system, I have a lot of faith in that. I'm excited that everybody took the time to put their heads together, and another couple takeaways for me is it's all about winning, finishing the best that you can. And it doesn't matter if it's the duels, if it's what it is. There's incentive to go out there and perform. As a competitor, it's tough to say that that's going to change much of what I do. But I know there will be opportunities where that point matters for someone. We're at 100% in those cars, and I know we try to articulate that all the time, and some get it, some don't. But it might take people from being at the 100% mark to making them a little bit more desperate in given situations and create more storylines. So, I feel that there's been a lot of time and effort and serious thought put into this, and it touches a lot of areas that needed to be addressed in our sport right now and the way things are evolving.
Let's go right here.
Jordan Bianchi, SBNation.com. Jimmie, do you feel your popularity with fans is starting to change a little bit? And, you were once booed a lot. Now you're starting to get more cheers?
Yeah, I think when a driver has enough gray in his beard, the fans kind of let you off the hook a little bit. So there's been a shift over the last 2 or 3 years, for sure. Homestead, and even before we won the race in the championship, they introduced us on stage, and there was a much larger roar than I anticipated hearing. So I guess I've earned my spot now after 15 seasons in the 7 championships. Well, at that point, 6 championships, but I think tenure plays a big role in it.
So all you had to do was grow older?
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Congrats. Let's go in the back here. Lee?
Jimmie, it seems every time that you win a championship, the format changes. But on the other side of that, there doesn't seem to be teams that I would say adapt as quickly as the 48 does. And you guys have the kind of team that can go out and win every practice and win qualifying and then go win the race. Are you guys going to take a similar tack to this format?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that you have any option with the way the format's laying out. We all know how important points are, and in the new format, there are 2 opportunities to earn points before the traditional moment in time. So qualifying's been tough for us. We might leave points on the table in that first segment because our qualifying isn't where we want it to be, and it's just not one of my natural things, one of my natural strengths. So it's going to force people to be more aggressive and more competitive in some situations, not all, but in some situations, and I don't see any downside in that. Yeah, I'm not bigger than NASCAR. There's no way that they're changing rules based on the 48. The sport's a lot bigger than one person.
All right, we'll go to Jenna, then Bob, and then back over to Tom.
Jennifer, AP, I have 2 non-racing questions for you. We're used to you with the beard. You seem to be channeling Dale Jr.'s old beard. I'm wondering, is this about Aspen, and what are you doing there? Because the article out of Colorado said that you've moved there and the kids are in school there. Is that a full-time thing?
No, it's not full-time, and yes, I feel very normal in Aspen with a beard like this. I came home and quickly had sticker shock or some kind of insecurity issues going with it, mainly because everybody's like, whoa, who is that? But we're not there full time. We're there for the winter. With the West Coast races, it works to be out there. Chad and Rick are both very much in favor of me living life and trying to find that balance of being in a place I really enjoy in the mountains. It's so great for me and my family. So I'll be there for the start of the season, but be back in Charlotte and back to the normal grind. Kind of, I guess, early spring, late winter.
Second question is, how'd you get Snoop to play your party?
Just started making phone calls. We had him play the Super Skins event that Nick Lachey and I used to put on that was before the Super Bowl. So we had a contact there, and I worked on it for that whole week leading into the banquet and had a hard time getting to him, and I finally did on Thursday, and he made it happen. So, and he got up there and blew everybody's mind that was in the room.
Bob?
Bob Pockers, ESPN. What do you think will be the impact on your pit crew with this new system? Just the fact that early pit stops now will be as much pressure as late pit stops.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the mindset of you've got 500 miles to get there, or 400 miles, whatever the race distance is, it doesn't benefit, mistakes on pit road. There's more to lose from poor qualifying and poor pit stops. More consistent qualifying, more consistent pit stops are key. But the trick is to go fast in qualifying and be consistently up front. You got to lay it on the line, and then the pit stops. If you're not in that 11-second bracket at worst, then you're going the wrong direction. So it's requiring everybody to execute on a much higher level more consistently. It's going to be tough.
Tom?
Hi, Jimmy. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Do you have less pressure on you this year because you've already got the 7th championship to tie the record, or more because you're going for the 8th?
I'm really content with where I'm at and happy with where I'm at, so I guess less pressure. I truthfully have felt like there hasn't been a lot of pressure on me through 6 and 7 because I never thought I'd have 1 to start with. When we won the 5 in a row and then lost that 6th, there was a weight taken off me then that I've mentioned to all of you before, and I've been able to expand on that more and more each year. I feel a larger responsibility in being a real leader at Hendrick Motorsports and being there for my teammates and team members. I feel a stronger calling for being involved in the Drivers' Council and a part of NASCAR and trying to help the sport. Absolutely, I'm showing up to win races and championships, but I feel almost more pressure to handle that part correctly than I do to go out and win an 8th. Some of that could be that with Chad Knaus running your race team, most of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and you're in good shape. And I know that side. I'm starting my 16th season, but I'm trying really hard to not let that pressure be on me. I want a balanced life from professional or personal life, and the pressure of a professional life can really affect your personal life. So it's there. It shows up if you want it or not, and I'm just trying to manage it and have a good time through it all.
All right, we got about a minute left. Let's go over here real quick.
Yeah, George Diaz, Orlando Sentinel. Jimmy, obviously with Dale, with the concussion issues last year, and then Carl mentioning it as part of his farewell speech, if you will, has a safety aspect and the long-term consequences, that kind of weigh a little bit more on you these days, or how do you process, the potential safety issues inside a car?
Yeah, we all process it and deal with it differently. I've firmly believed since I was a young kid watching other racers that the day you're thinking about it is the day you need to step down. And that shows up at a different point in time for all competitors. And it hasn't entered my mind. And so I'm still in the seat and still going. I do also feel that we've made some amazing headway in driver safety and concussion-related injuries. And at least the way I process and internalize it, I'm good with where I'm at right now. That could change someday, and I want to be very aware of it. And do what's right for me and my family, and certainly for Carl, that's part of the decision for him. And then so happy to have Junior back. Of course, his safety is a top priority for me and probably everybody else, but he's on a journey to come back, and we're going to have him back.
Well, Jimmie, thanks for sharing some time with us here today. Have a great season.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Jimmie Johnson.